It's coming up soon, but it's all going to be based on evidence. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions.
Justin Baldoni has hit back at Blake Lively's stunning claims, accusing her of exploiting her Hollywood connections to terrify him and distort the truth.
Blake Lively went to the New York Times, and the New York Times wrote the sympathetic poor Blake Lively story. Oh, we were all wrong about her.
It seems Blake, who earlier reportedly harassed Baldoni with her influence, is now playing the victim card to save face. This vicious fight of egos and claims has everyone talking, and it's hard to know who to trust.
Actor-director Justin Baldoni is now suing his former co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, seeking more than $400 million in damages, accusing them of defamation and extortion.
Justin Baldoni has decided he's had enough of Blake Lively's inventive storytelling and is hitting back with his own spicy disclosures.
The Hollywood actress Blake Lively has filed a legal complaint against her. It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni, alleging sexual harassment and a campaign to destroy her reputation.
After Lively accused him of sexual harassment and other inappropriate behavior on the set of It Ends With Us, Baldoni is now suggesting she's the actual mastermind behind this charade. What's going on here?
What's going on here? What does he say? Why is he suing them?
And the cherry on top, Baldoni is suing Lively and Reynolds for a casual $400 million alleging defamation and Hollywood sabotage. Ever the hero, Baldoni pledges he won't settle quietly and will make all his proof public. Sure, since revealing, everyone's dirty laundry has always gone well in Hollywood. Meanwhile, the trial set for March 2026 promises more pyrotechnics than the 4th of July.
You know, he is suing for defamation, extortion, and basically, in layman's terms, shady business practices.
Baldoni feels that Lively manufactured up these claims to resuscitate her career, since, starring in huge movies and being a social media darling simply wasn't cutting it. And let's not forget the moment when Baldoni blames her for his career woes, as if Reynolds and Lively had a covert agenda to ruin him.
Justin Baldoni, who's not as well known. And they've been following the story. So he optioned this book called It Ends With Us, and it's about domestic violence. And he managed to get Blake Lively to star in his movie across from him.
Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively are two names that don't ordinarily scream scandal, but their relationship on It Ends With Us has turned into everything but calm sailing. At first, everything appeared perfect. Baldoni, the self-proclaimed apostle, for contemporary masculinity, and Lively, a Hollywood darling with an easy charm, were a fascinating and unexpected pairing for this adaptation of Colleen Hoover's book. On paper, it looked like a match made in cinematic heaven. Blake went all in, even urging fans to attend screenings dressed in flowers, a surprising move for a tale built around domestic violence. Her drama antics are getting too much.
First of all, I want men to stop asking the question, why did women stay?
Yeah.
Right. I want men to take accountability. I want men to hold other men accountable.
And then there was Justin, the man who cried in interviews about tearing down gender stereotypes and who authored books about emotional vulnerability. He appears like he was ready to pour his heart into the part. It was more than a job for him. He was the male lead, co-directing the picture, and defining the tale both in front of and behind the camera.
So he gets Blake Lively. She's married to Ryan Reynolds. These are Hollywood A-listers. He's going to put him on the map. And she agrees to be his female co-star. Great, they're off to the races.
For a time, things seemed okay. The press painted a picture of unity. Blake was eager and committed. Justin was attentive and respectful. And fans were cautiously optimistic. It looked like Hollywood's strange coupling was making it work. But behind closed doors, let's just say the stillness before the storm didn't last long.
She's brought the suit, and he's got to defend himself. And there's some very serious allegations being made against him and Wayfair for harassment.
Out of nowhere, Blake Lively released a massive bombshell, accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment and professional misconduct. And she didn't hold back. She stated he crossed the line during intimate moments, grew much too personal in chats, and showed zero regard for bounds on set. Hollywood was astonished. This wasn't just another rumor, it was a full-blown debate.
I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully.
But let's not forget, this wasn't merely a one-sided tale. Those close to the production started coming forward with their viewpoints, and things went ugly fast. People working with her said that Blake wasn't the easiest person to deal with. They regarded her as a control freak on set, insisting on specific techniques to intimate situations, overriding creative decisions, and making her presence felt in ways that rubbed others the wrong way.
It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did.
Justin Baldoni has now delivered a bombshell detailing what he says are the purposeful power tactics of Blake Lively and her partner Ryan Reynolds. According to Baldoni, this isn't just about personal conflicts, but a bigger, premeditated operation to destroy his name and grab control of the narrative around their problematic film project.
And we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also, and some
Ryan
of them come
Reynolds?
as a surprise. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
Reynolds, known for his quick wit and social media domination, allegedly played a key part in intensifying the drama, pulling strings behind the scenes to back Lively's claims and sway public opinion.
She bullied her way through the process to take over the movie and used her PR people to try and destroy Justin.
Baldoni's claims show a determined strategy to weaponize public compassion, with Lively and Reynolds purportedly leveraging their Hollywood status to destroy him professionally and emotionally. He feels their efforts were about addressing complaints and turning the entire production into a struggle of egos and PR warfare. Let's start with Blake. Limits are vital, and advocating for oneself on set is critical.
100% Ryan was the one who put this line in here. Not SNL, not Tina Fey, not Blake Lively, but Ryan.
But according to insiders, Blake didn't only draw borders. She erected a whole castle and called herself queen. Allegedly, she was directing the shoots, leaving little opportunity for cooperation. And when Justin Baldoni, straddling the positions of co-star and director, dared to push back, that's when things became toxic. What began as artistic disputes evidently developed into a full-blown war of egos, and the timing of Blake's court complaint strangely doesn't even begin to touch it. It dropped just as It Ends With Us faced mounting scrutiny, with fans already wary about whether Colleen Hoover's profound tale could survive Hollywood's glossy presentation. Was Blake's move about pursuing justice, or more about transferring responsibility before the fury landed? You decide.
And in my opinion, he rose above and was way kinder and more professional than I would have been.
But Baldoni has to defend himself. These allegations are very serious, and he's really but no choice but to now come out with everything that he's got.
Now, let's discuss about Ryan Reynolds, since apparently he's not simply sipping gin and making jokes. According to statements from individuals close to Blake Lively's team, there are considerable suspicions that Ryan is the architect behind this entire mess. The timing, the narrative, and the meticulously manufactured victim scenario are all being regarded as a form of PR wizardry. Ryan has supposedly been working behind the scenes to make sure that Blake's reputation stays untarnished, while Justin Timberlake is forced to suffer with the consequences from the controversy. His role is thought to go well beyond just being a supportive husband. The meticulous approach in which this dispute has been handled suggests Ryan has been the one pulling the strings, ensuring that the public regards Blake as the innocent party. Meanwhile, Justin finds himself in damage control mode, working to restore his public image and coping with the effects of what many now perceive as a carefully organized PR effort.
And then Justin Baldoni did something very smart. He hired the lawyer who represented me in my fight with NBC News, which ended well.
Meanwhile, just as his staff was struggling to handle the consequences, the allegations flung against him were nothing short of a frontal attack on everything he had ever stood for. The guy who had routinely cried out against the heavy societal pressures put on guys who had openly championed the importance of creating safe places for women, suddenly found himself in the midst of a debate that threatened to utterly demolish everything he had battled so hard to establish. His entire public character, the image he had assiduously cultivated over the years, was now in peril. It was a sad turn of events, one that left both his supporters and opponents in amazement. How could someone who had preached so forcefully about equality, respect, and safety for women find himself in a situation where his own actions were being called into question? It was a drastic contrast to the person he had always portrayed himself to be, leaving many asking whether it was all a facade. The reality, as it usually does in these high-profile cases, was muddied by rumors, supposition, and continuous media inquiry. The dispute didn't merely affect his career, it struck to the heart of everything he believed in.
She winds up suing Justin Baldoni. She files a complaint with the Human Rights Commission out in California saying he sexual harassed me and then he retaliated me by pushing all this bad press about me.
But here's where it gets exciting. Justin didn't quickly go on the defensive. Instead, his PR staff employed a more controlled and planned approach. They elected to stay mute at first, allowing the media frenzy to unfold and play out. By staying silent, they allowed the narrative time to build and spiral, knowing the public's attention would retain the spotlight on the dispute. It wasn't until later that Justin's team started to covertly push back against the accusations. They began throwing little clues and cues that Blake's version of the tale might not be as clear-cut as it initially appeared. They didn't rush in with a full-blown denial, but instead concentrated on seeding seeds of doubt. The hints were designed to make people question the authenticity of the allegations and start looking for discrepancies. This method was a means to influence the narrative carefully, ensuring that the discourse altered in their favor without bringing too much attention to the defending side. As the media cycle proceeded, their clandestine measures seemed to be working, and Blake's narrative started to lose some of its original impetus.
Arguably, for the first time at the premiere, you find out that Blake Lively tells people that all of a sudden he wrote a scene in the movie.
Of course, by this point, the harm had already been done. The tale had spun out of control, and there was no going back. With fans and critics alike taking sides, the problem had grown even more complex. Some lauded Blake as a hero, someone courageous enough to stand up against yet another big Hollywood guy who had supposedly exploited his position. They believed she was doing what needed to be done, pushing for justice and fairness in an industry that sometimes turned a blind eye to such things. However, others began to suspect her objectives. They debated if this was genuinely about pursuing justice, or if, in truth, it was more about getting control, power, and influence inside the corporation. Was this a personal retribution or a well-thought-out effort to reshape the narrative surrounding her career? The limits between good and bad began to blur, leaving the public divided and uncertain about the underlying narrative driving Blake's actions.
Hollywood power couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and actor and director Justin Baldoni. The plot of this lawsuit is actually more interesting, I believe, than the film that they made.
She sees herself as Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, mother of dragons.
Ryan's authoring one scene from the movie proved to be the final nail in the coffin. Either way, one thing is clear. This wasn't just about Justin and Blake anymore. It grew into something far larger, about power dynamics, public image, and the dissolving frontiers between personal and professional limitations. With both actors reluctant to back down, it became more than clear that this drama was far from over, and the emotions were simply growing. This wasn't a simple argument. It was a struggle for control, a battle for image, and a battle for who would come out on top in the public view. As the situation proceeded to develop, it became progressively clear that neither party was prepared to give in. It wasn't just their personal lives on the line anymore. This was about their entire careers, and every decision they took would be scrutinized. Now, let's zoom out even more and speak about the terrifying truth underneath Hollywood. Tales. At its base, this conflict is a master study in how celebrity allegations are weaponized to evoke popular sympathy. One moment, someone is praised as a feminist hero. The next, they're deemed problematic, leaving fans and the public unable to make sense of it all. PR teams, the invisible hands pulling the strings, are behind the scenes, producing heroes and villains out of incredibly difficult circumstances. They develop narratives, control the message, and often create the reality that the audience believes. The craziest part? Fans chew it up, forging alliances, choosing sides, and fighting battles online, while the reality remains hazy at best. This is how the Hollywood machine operates. Blake and Justin's story is a perfect example of how easy public opinion can be changed. Leaked communications, nameless sources, and one-sided headlines are aimed to generate emotional emotions rather than delivering any true facts. These tactics are used to modify the story in a way that matches a given aim. It's a strategy as ancient as Hollywood itself, but with the rise of social media, it has been exaggerated to another level. Now, it's not just about controlling the story. It's about weaponizing it to ruin your opponent's reputation, career, and all they've worked for. The stakes are larger than ever. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's battle is merely heating up. With fresh twists and discoveries coming every day, it's apparent this is far from done. Stay tuned and subscribe for all the juicy updates. You won't want to miss a single second of this growing narrative.